time, you flip over backwards. And when I turn back around, bam, I slam around. If I hold brakes and turn, I do exactly like you guys do, and I get drugged downwind every single time. How do you go forwards? You have to be flown forwards. If I want to go forwards, I'm going to go hands up, turn, brake, and make the glider stop me. I am not holding my body. As you can see, my feet are not under me. They are behind me. At no point do my feet come under me. If he pulls me, I am flying. Same thing with the motor. If the motor would have pushed me, I would be in the air literally as fast as him pulling me. Do it again. That looks pretty cool. Okay. Now, if you have a motor on your back and you start going like this, you're falling over because you just got all that weight getting jerked downwind. So, to turn around, you need to fly, and it's a turn and go, not a turn and run backwards. So in order to go, I don't go where I want to go, I go where the glider tells me to go. To make the glider tell me to go forwards, I go hands up, turn, and then pull brakes smoothly until the glider brings me to a stop. Loading never changed. Look at the height of my body. So what's the altitude of my head, basically? Altitude of my head. Get the glider perfectly stable, hands up, turn, brake. Altitude of my head stays the same. If you raise and lower your stance, you're jacking it up and you'll start flying. So you gotta stay at the same altitude, nice and smooth and consistent. And it should be nice and painful because almost all my body weight is on my chest. I'm literally flying right now, hanging from my chest. My weight is not on the seat board because I'm facing forwards. My weight is on my chest. Ooh, and it hurts. So when your chest gets really tired, turn around and load your butt. Rest your chest. Now, I want to turn around, go hands up, move into the wind, smoothly add brakes until the glider stops me. Smooth as can be. I turn, I get the weight going into the wind. Same thing with the motor. I'm going to go hands up, turn, go into the wind, except for I would add throttle at that point. It's a turn and go. Don't turn and dick around. Turn and immediately go. Now turn back around. You want to turn violently. The turn to forward is nice and relaxed because the risers are trying to turn you. But the turn to reverse is like spinning a 180 in a swing set. It does not want those chains to be turned. So I have to be violent. I'm going to lower my stance, and then I'm going to spin all at once really hard, like try and make my sunglasses fly off my face. See? Sunglasses. That's how hard I spin. Because if I don't get a twist in the risers, let's say I turn like a sissy, risers will flip me back around and say, rejected. If you do that with a motor, you end up on your head, you get ripped over backwards, it gets really ugly. So when you turn to reverse, it's violent. Boom. Turn around. Chest forward, sitting on the seat, go right into my slide. Slide has saved you from everything. You're sliding, boom. And simply hands up until you stop sliding. But smoothly, don't just throw your hands up or the glider shoots forward and collapses. So you slide, and then slowly put your hands up smoothly. Go forwards, get stable, left foot in the middle of my body. I'm standing on my left foot. Go hands up, turn, move forward, gentle brake till I stop. Bam, here I am. Now, forward run and jump. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hands up, fall, run, jump, brake to the ground. So, I'm going to go hands up and I'm going to fall. I'm not going to run until I get the glider surging. Got brakes. Here we go. Hands up, fall, run, jump, brake, 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 land, smoothly hands back up. Now, hands up is not to zero. See where my hands are when I'm in my stable position? That's where hands up is after you land. So after you land, you don't put your hands to here or the glider collapses. You simply put your hands back up to where you kite, where you leave them when you're kiting. So look where let me get stable, right here. Glider's good and loaded. This is hands up after I land. So here we go. Do it, gonna get nice and stable and level. I'm looking at my left wingtip out of peripheral vision. I'm not doing this. My head is turned to the side and my left eye is looking at the left wingtip. Laying on the chest strap. Then I go hands up, fall, run, 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 jump, break, 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 land, hands up smoothly. Boom, right back to where I was, loaded. And it should look as effortless as it does when I do it. Because if you get the timing, it's all technique, not muscle. It's finesse, it's technique, very simple. So here we go, I'm loading that chest strap, which never unloaded, because at no point did I stand up and then go, okay, I'm gonna run and jump. This is your home position, you live here. Every second you're kiting, this is where you're at. If you're tired, stop kiting, don't do it wrong. Don't rest by doing it wrong, because this is the easiest way to do it, is to do it right. Here we go. Accelerate. In order to accelerate, I have to go hands up. So I go hands up, fall, run, jump, brakes, land, hands back up. And of course, if you're super L, you land on one toe perfectly on one foot and you don't fall forward, backwards, or sideways. But we'll work on that next week. Okay, here we go. Boom. Another big, huge one. Don't fight the glider. Glider goes right. At no point am I going, no, I'm not going to James. No, I don't go that way. Never, ever put your foot out. My feet are behind me. The feet are lined up. I'm crossing my legs and floating wherever the glider takes me effortlessly. There is zero resistance. It tells me to slam into the trash can, I slam into the trash can. And then pull right brake and tell it, hey, let's not trash slam into the trash can. But you have to go where you're told. Otherwise, it will drag your butt there a second later. So if I put that foot out, now the glider's going, now I'm fighting, wow, boom, and then I get slammed and then jerked and then ripped. And that's what you guys look like, and that's why. Because you put your foot out and fought it. Do not fight it. Hands stay below you. Excuse me, your feet stay below you. Your body stays straight up and down. When the glider goes left, never lean right to fight it. Ever, ever, ever. Do not fight the glider. Glider goes left, effortless. I float left. Glider goes right, effortless. I float right. Look at my feet. Are like, they're not even really touching the ground. They're actually flying across the ground. The big skill thing here is that I'm controlling the altitude of my chest using the glider. That one is beyond expert level. And so you guys are going to have a hard time really mastering that by the end of the class. We're going to shoot for it. But that's actually bigger than the sidestep. The sidestep's easy if you simply get your brain to go where it takes you. Glider goes right. Now, if I want to go left, no problem. Bam. I can pop that left brake, tell the glider to take me left, and then I just go with it. I want to go right. I can be aggressive on the brake and make it take me where it wants to go. But I cannot go this way if my glider goes that way. It ain't working. You start dragging the glider, and I end up gift wrapped and upside down. So very, very important. And notice at no point did I go lock-legged. That ain't working. That ain't right. You lean forward. You lay in the chest strap. You want to fly forwards. Hands up. Accelerate the glider. Fall, run, jump, brakes, land. Load the glider again. Go where the glider takes me. Left. Boom. Right. Boom. Left. No effort. Now, one of the most difficult of all, one of the hardest pieces everybody has a problem with, is pointing the direction the glider is going. So over and over and over, I'm like, okay, do a run and jump. You get like this, and then you go like, okay, hands up, sideways. It's like, what the freak? Your glider's going that way. Quit running that way, retard. So you have to run the direction the glider tells you. You are not in charge. The glider's in charge. You tell the glider where to take your body. If I want to run to the right, I'm going to drop the glider right. Well, now I'm going to fall under it. Oops. Now I'm running this direction. Now I'm running that direction. I don't run straight. I run wherever the glider tells me to run. And now the glider's telling me to go backwards. That's the only direction I resist. But I can go with it smoothly and consistently as long as I'm not stumble walking. I ease my hands up slowly. I don't panic and throw my hands up and freak out and try to collapse the glider. Bingo. Go left, go right. Now, think about a swing set. In order to twist the chains on the swing set, it takes an enormous, look at my leg, I gotta stick it way out for leverage and fight it. So to run that way, I have to really fight and then try and, okay, I'm gonna run right down. Hey, how come it's not working? You're fighting. Just go the direction the swing set swings. These risers do not want to be twisted. So if you're running the wrong direction, you are fighting like a mother. You are fighting very, very, very hard. All you have to do is relax. Stop fighting and let the risers tell you which way to point. Now, the reason you start fighting is because of the leg. So what happens, the glider goes left, you put the leg out to fight it, and your body starts twisting right to give yourself the leverage to fight the glider. Now, you're sideways to the glider. So each piece is kind of connected, and it's like a cluster screw of terrible. When you do one, it jacks up the other, and that jacks up the other. So if the glider goes left, and I stick my foot out, and I'm like, no, I'm not going, I will naturally start pointing right. And now I'm twisting the risers, and now I hit the throttle. And my glider's going off that way, and I'm trying to fly that way. Horribly bad. This isn't the USPTA scam. This is where we actually teach you to go the same direction as your glider, so that you understand that before you get flying. You will literally see people all over the internet crash when they went to fly and they took off this way, and the glider just spun upside down behind them and pounded them straight into the ground, and they either broke their back or died. No trouble zone, no nothing. No freaking clue why it happened, because no one ever taught them actual glider control. They were like Kurt Fister and chucked in the air in 20 minutes. They have absolutely no concept, no clue, no reflexes. So, glider goes to the right. Do not put a foot out and fight it. Simply float with the glider and effortlessly go where the glider tells you. And then simply tell the glider, I don't want to go that way. Left brake. I'm going to go to the left. Oh, I want to go right. Got a little right brake. Now it takes me right. Glider's in charge. You tell the glider what to do, and then you do what the glider tells you to do. You control the glider. Glider controls you. Resistance is futile. It's like the board. Glider's in control. It's in charge. Glider tells you to jump off a cliff. You do it. Because if you said, no, I don't want to go off the cliff, bam, 1 second later, the glider drags you sideways off the cliff. So if the glider tells you to jump off a cliff, you just go off the cliff, and you run and jump. You're like, oh, yep. Then you immediately go with it, and then you'll have nice control going off the cliff, instead of getting drugged after your glider and falling into your glider after it drug you off the cliff. So very important, you go where the glider goes. Notice at no point are my arms death gripping. No, totally limp, completely relaxed, like a steering wheel, using as little physical ability as possible, and I only got about 25 pounds on my legs. I'm not standing here, I'm flying here. All my feet are doing are holding my position. They're not holding my body. The glider's holding my body. My feet hold my position. It's a kite. So I'm just standing there holding my position and flying my body. accelerate airspeed, fly my body. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Keep the glider above me. Small little corrections. Okay, look at my hands very closely. Watch the size of my corrections. Okay, tell me when you see me pull brake.
The entire time?
Did I pull brakes yet? Nope, never pulled brake at all. That was all weight shift and walking. If you weight shift and walk, you need almost zero brake or zero brake. So as the glider goes right, I lean left to weight shift, and then I walk the direction it tells me. Lean right, walk under it. Lean left, walk under it. Also, you're like a little kid that's an airplane. If you lean this way, you naturally pull the brake on one side and the other hand goes up. So if I just kind of totally relax my arms and I just lean my body to the left. See, it's like I have to tell you what I'm doing because it's so small, it's almost imperceptible. I'm going to rock my butt, roll my butt. I'm pulling down, glider goes left, I pull down the right riser. Glider goes right, I pull down the left riser. Left riser, right riser. Roll. Same thing with the paramotor. You move to the side you're weight shifting to. So if you're flying your flat top and you take off and you hit throttle and it torques you right, you simply move left. Lean your butt left. Counter the right torque to make sure that you're level, because if you're not level, you're making a correction. If the paramotor leans right, it's going to make a hard right turn. If the paramotor leans left, the glider shoots you off to the left. So you've got to make sure that you are just rocking your butt and pulling yourself side to side inside your control surface. And one of the reasons flat top has the best weight shift on the market is it has the widest hook in points. It's like, imagine a hang glider if the bar was only as wide as your body. Well, how do you move left? You can't, because your body doesn't move. So all the paramotors with 16-inch wide comfort bars, which is almost everything, don't weight shift for crap, because you can't shift your weight. So even this one, I'm a little stuck inside my control surface, but I do have some movement. Where the flat top, you have fixed 22-inch wide hook-in points, just like a hang glider. If I want to go left, I simply move my body to the left side of the control surface, or the right side, and I hang off of this button. Now watch my butt really close, because I got a really sexy butt according to my girlfriend. Watch the butt. Airspeed into lift, land, smooth, body. I want to go backwards, I add brakes, I make the glider take me backwards. I don't just walk backwards. The glider takes me backwards. Now I want to go forwards, hands up, fall, run, brakes, land, go back up, go forwards, hands up, fall, run. Now I'm running really slow. You're supposed to run faster because it'll overcome some of your mistakes. But when you get the technique really dialed, it kind of depends on the air. So right now I have so much wind, I can fly without actually running. But the faster I go forward, the more airspeed, the longer my flight will be. So if I really get running, I can fly much farther because I got more airspeed that I turn into lift. I'm exchanging airspeed for lift. So you'll notice as I land, I'm literally going backwards or at a stop. Generally, you pull brakes, every single inch of brakes for landing, or until you come to a complete stop. So in the lighter winds, you should be varying every inch of brake and pointing your fingers as far as you can physically pull, pulling all of the brakes. But 15-mile-an-hour of winds, you're going to pull brakes right until you come to a dead stop. So watch that one. Here we go, stabilize, hands up, fall, run, run, run. Now brake, stop. Boom. So I brake until I stop, and it only took about maybe 4 inches of brake with this much wind and this size of glider. If I had a 10 square meter speed glider, I would have to use a lot more brake and run a lot faster because you got less lift. But here, I have a lot of lift on this Dominator. Hands up, run, brakes, great, small, smooth, no panic inputs. Most of everybody jacking themselves up is because you jacked it up because the glider went to the right and you went, whoa! And you jerked like 1.5 feet of brake and spin or stall the glider. It's like, what the freak are you doing? It's like going down the freeway. You ever flip the steering wheel at 180? No, you died. It's over. So a lot of it is just forcing yourself not to panic brake and not to overdo it. And to remember not to move any portion of your body in a stable direction. Because every little thing, as small as leaning my body the slightest bit, has a huge effect. So if you're sitting here, let's see if I can stumble walk. Like you're jerking, you can hear the glider flapping and going, what the freak? It's jerking all over and you're slamming the glider. So when I move across the ground, I glide across the ground, trying to maintain a steady altitude with my hips and move smoothly. Gliding across the ground, same altitude, small corrections on the brakes. You're smooth, you're smooth. Even if it freaks out and goes sideways, okay, don't panic, just be smooth. Going sideways, smooth, don't freak out, smooth. Can you help him? Back at the condos. just have to keep doing it over and over and over, and just try and work as many of those pieces into what you're doing as possible. The big one, don't be standing there lock-legged with your feet straight down like this all day, because every second you spend doing it wrong like this is another 20 minutes you got to spend doing it right. So try and force yourself to keep your butt down right here. And at first you might only be able to do it for a half a second. But you got to stay determined. Then you get your butt down. Okay, how long can I keep my butt right there? I fall back, that brake move back. I get drugged, ease off slowly so I'm not getting drugged. I stall it, I go hands up, and then brake and go back into my slide. That's another good one, stall recovery. Troy, get off the glider, move right. Move. Okay. Stall. No brakes, so I'm sliding. As soon as it stalls, you gotta go to hands to 0. Stall. Recovers, slide. As soon as you go to 0 brake, your only control is weight shift and moving. And of course you want to keep your butt at the same altitude as much as possible so you don't create any violent surges. Notice the unbroken slide line. Try to keep sliding. You let a foot catch, it makes it less stable. So brake till it stalls. As soon as it stalls, hands up. Hands up. Brake. Skills transfer perfectly. That's actually really cool. I'm very proud of my son. He's awesome. But it's a good example that if you keep listening to words coming out of my mouth, and you keep watching and you keep working on it and trying to do exactly what I'm saying, literally we'll be able to do that. Now you probably won't be able to do that in the first class. I think only one person has ever been able to kite on a post. About 11 seconds on their first class. That's like master level. If you can stay on a pole, that's pretty much master level. But a lot have been able to kite up a trailer. A wall is much easier than a pole. Because a wall you can go up and down and you still got back and forth. Back and forth. On a pole, you gotta be perfect. You're off by an inch, you fall off the pole. So to be able to kite up a pole and stand on top of one foot like that, you're not, what are you gonna do? A pin?
What's the best way to get down a pole up that high?
Well, if you're on a pole, best way to get down is to fly.
Flop in reverse?
It doesn't matter, but I would prefer reverse. So, you did it many times. Let me do it this time and you can pay attention to how I do it. Okay, let's say I start to lose it to the left. Oops. I simply push off, flare for landing, and I fly off. So I want to fly away from the post, because the worst thing would be to fall right in front of it and get the glider tangled in it. That can be ugly. So yeah, usually I'll slap the glider to one side and get off easy and make a really hard dismount. Start losing it. Get away, right brake, make the glider go right, bring me to a stop. Notice I shot to the left, but I landed at a dead stop because I brought the glider right and used the lift of the glider to bring my body to a dead stop for that landing. Extra wind, I can fly backwards. But if I didn't have much extra wind, it would be very difficult to fly backwards without stalling the glider first. Because I have to slow the glider to stall point before the glider basically stalls as you're going downwind. So I have to have enough wind in order to fly it backwards. So generally I would always push into the wind if possible, or into the wind and sideways. backwards and jump. I go this way, I pull that way. Boom. Same sort of thing. If you're coming in cross, make sure you turn it back and make the glider bring you to a stop. Because you really don't want to have 70 pounds in your back and land going sideways, so you're going to fall down really, really quick. You want to land exactly into the wind where you land. Steady stop. So then, obviously, you're going to have a lot more balance if you land at a stop. But to stop, I basically have to be either perfectly in the wind, or I have to have made the glider stop my forward momentum. So my glider was sideways because I was going that way, but as soon as it balances out, I gotta flip it back above me. But forget about that one, that's a little advanced. Maybe next class. There you go. But again, I'm always sitting here. Your brain says when the glider lifts you to reach for the ground with your toes. Oh, I don't want to leave, I don't want to leave. Totally wrong. You have to force yourself to do the opposite of what your natural reaction is. If the glider lifts you, your feet and go in, because that adds loading to the glider. Pick up your knees, break to a landing. You get hit with a gust, big gust rips you off the ground. My chest forward into the risers. The big thing with reverse kiting is if you leave the ground, you have to prevent yourself from untwisting. To do that, I pick my knees up. When I leave the ground, I pick my knees up. The weight of my knees forces my chest forward. Then I can push one brake and pull the other. I got to prevent this from untwisting. The other thing is don't turn right. If those risers separate, it's going to be forcing you to flip around.
He just didn't have the bag.
And so if anything, I'll actually turn a little bit to the left. That puts a little more twist in the risers so that when I fly, it's even that much easier to prevent from untwisting. So I put that extra little twist. Again, when you're kiting, you see people's glider go to the right, and all of a sudden they go like that and untwist the risers and it like flips them on their head. When the glider goes right, stay square, stay chest against the risers, which is yet another piece. As soon as I lean backwards, my only balance point is basically my feet. I'm trying to balance my body while getting drug on my feet. When I push my chest forward, I now have two balance points. I force my chest against the risers really hard, and I got my feet. So I'm going to be, I don't know what the number is, but like 800% more stable or even more because I have two balance points. So every time I keep telling you chest forward, chest forward, chest forward, chest forward, there's a reason for it. And it'll make you a lot more stable. And all the guys doing this, because they kited with their hat on, even if I told them not to, and then they end up doing this, and then you leave the ground, and you flip around and you end up on your head, because you don't have that stability. So not only do I put my chest against the risers, if you notice, I put my chest in the risers. Look where my chest is. Look where my head is. Here's the chin to the risers. Here's me. But before I tell you to do this, my head's to the left, so I got to be careful that I'm weight shifting correctly. So we don't usually tell you to do this straight off the bat until your chin to the risers, so that you're straight in the middle. But once you get the hang of it, you really start forcing your chest against those risers. You got two balance points. You got chest. Notice your hands are open. Never, ever, ever close your hands. Ever. If that Kevlar line slides down your hand, you're not going to do that more than once. It won't. Let's say it'll rope burn you at the very least. That Kevlar, if you slip on that Kevlar, man, you can slice yourself right to the bone or even cut your finger off. So don't be ever grabbing a Kevlar line. Just like if somebody's glider's out of control, don't go up and grab the line and try and pull the line. That's like as stupid gets. You can put your hand on it and you can push against the line, but never grab it. I go around and I go, open your hands, push, brakes go down. The other thing is people start pulling brakes back towards their ears. And again, that totally jacks up your stability because it's really hard to prevent the twist while you're pulling backwards. So brakes go straight down. Boom. Towards China, towards the ground, towards my knees, towards my feet. Take your pick. Use one of those. Don't be pulling brakes like a boat. Glider goes to the side. Look at his hand. It's not doing this. If your elbow's up, you're totally jacking it up and muscling it. Glider goes to the side. Bam. Turn. This hand is just gentle as can be. Just falls to the ground. Glider goes sideways. Boom. Yes, you can do a wingtip drag with no hands. Why do you think we keep yelling at you? Turn, 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 turn. Not that way, the other way. It's because it works so incredibly well that if you don't do it, you basically can't correct the glider doing it backwards because you're turning, your weight shifting backwards, and then you end up burying the brake and you just stall the glider over and over and over. So I'll try and do it a little wrong here. It's so hard environment where if I just turn, all of a sudden the pressure goes completely to zero, and then the tiniest touch, boom, brings it back up. Because I turn, walk, pull, not very jerk, yank, stumble, and then flip over and roll on your face, and then pull as hard as you can. It's turn, walk, pull. Glider goes to the side. As long as I turn right, glider comes up.
This is the bottom.
Turn left, it comes down. Right, it comes up. Left, it comes down. Right, it comes up. Left, it comes down. Right, left, it comes down. Down. So why are you yanking the brake as hard as you physically can? All while Super Dell is like, let off, stop, pull, your other left, stop. Or I'm saying, turn left, your other left, turn. And you hear me say, turn, and you don't do it, you just keep yanking the brake. It's because the second you turn the correct direction, all of the loading and violence goes away. Look how simple that was. Glider comes down, I turn left, and all of a sudden I have to pull really hard, and that pulls me because it creates drag. And now I'm dragging my butt. If I turn right, effortless. Loading goes away, drag goes away, it becomes totally effortless and easy. So it's like you're getting your butt drug across the ground, and I'm saying turn right. Very important to listen to the words coming out of my mouth. We kind of put it in the introductory meeting. But keep in mind, I understand you're in information overload and panic mode, and so naturally that's kind of how it works. And so we just explain it, keep saying it over and over and over, and call you a retard and slap you around and slap your hand. And try anything to make you remember. Not because we're trying to insult you, not trying to put you down or embarrass you. It's about trying to get it into the brain to make you a safer and better pilot. Doesn't do me any good to insult you, put you down, humiliate you. That has nothing to do with it. It's all about trying to say something silly or joking around or dumb that you might remember that'll click in your brain. And then a year from now, your glider goes right and you'll hear Super Dell saying, your other left. And if you do it, I just saved your butt. Because it makes it totally effortless when you do it right. Okay. Let's see. Any other questions? One-handed. low side. But notice, I'm still sliding. I'm still in my slide. I didn't stand lock-legged because I changed techniques.
Oh.
I keep the butt there. Fly. It's just one-handed. That's one-handed. Push towards the side it's going to. Left and right. Boom. This is straight controlling. Elbows down. Relax. Open hand. This is backwards, but as long as you get the reverse cross controlling first, your brain will figure this one out really quick, like within an hour. So we really don't have to teach you too much or say much because your brain will start figuring out that it is backwards. What you never do is grab and straight control with brakes. Never ever do that. If you're losing control, always grab a brake line or push a brake line. Do not grab the brake toggle because the brake toggle will be swinging around and spun inside out and you're trying to grab the brake and it's like you're just going to lose control. Where if this glider goes all the way to the side, take a close look where that left brake is. Right here. I mean, it's like the easiest thing you could possibly grab. But if you try and grab the brake toggle, well, you try and grab this brake toggle, now I got to reach up over here, but look, I have to weight shift right. How's my arm going to reach up here while twisted? It's very, very difficult. So if you're losing it, never panic and try and grab brake toggle. Just grab the high side brake line. Glider goes to the right, high side brake line, right there. Boom, drop the arm, nice and gentle, don't overdo it. Slowly, and don't forget to stop it above you with the other brake. The faster it comes up, the faster you pull the other brake. If you ignored what I said and you panic, you better slam that brake to stop the glider above you. The faster you got, more energy you have going that way, the more energy you got to use to stop the glider. It's one of the only times that you do kind of jerk brake is if you're canceling the energy of a huge oscillation. So the smoother you are, the big thing is everybody tries to get the glider up right now. They just overreact the crap out of it. Where if you do it slowly, there's much less violence. Turn right, gentle brake. If I walk smoothly, I put all the pieces together, literally effortless. I weigh nothing. I use no muscle. It's very, very simple. Use technique to do it, not brute force. Technique. Glider goes to the right. Bingo. Turn right. Move under the glider. Steady pace. Nice and consistent, steady pace. Don't start and stop, start and stop. Jerk, jerk, jerk. Because that'll jerk the glider. Glider goes to the right. Comes down. Turn right. Smoothly. Move under it. And bingo. Got your glider. Bam. Then you collapse. Full brakes till you slide. Ease off slowly. See my hands going up? Bam. Now I can back up, fly backwards. Oh, I feel a big collapse. Oh, full brakes till I slide. And then slowly hands back up till I stop sliding. Hold my posture. Don't then stand up lock-legged because then you'll get jacked again and take another collapse. So you pull till you slide, recover from the slide, take a nap, drink a drink, relax. Yeah,
There you go.
one-handed. That's a little tricky. One-handed is a little tricky on one foot. There you go. Booyah. Okey dokey. Slide backwards. Yes, sir. Identical. Yeah, it's identical. I'm just doing it away from you guys so you can see me. Now, I walk back here.
Yeah.
Try not die.
Oh, he's going to go up on.
Slide. that on video, or at least somebody? You should totally send that to me. You have my number, right? No, here,
I'll get it. I'll get it. Do something else. I got it all. I got you on the pole.
Come back, give me another hug. so hot, so hot. I found that really good.